concerned about trouble and trying to be irresponsible, one-sided news stories.
Sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. This is episode 25 of The Weekly Show. Be sure to catch all of The Weekly Show every Monday at 7 p.m. Make sure you catch all this. Make sure you subscribe at the bottom, become part of December Nation. Ryan, what's going on? This week has been madness.
Depends who you ask.
I'm asking you.
Depends who you ask. I gotta say, I'm gonna say one thing, and then I'm gonna ask you a question, Dave. Okay.
Okay.
The 6th, right? That was D-Day. Was the 6th of January, Wednesday.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the big thing.
The Wednesday, because they were counting the electoral votes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when people stormed the Capitol.
Sure.
Allegedly broke in.
Yes. I'll let you finish. I've yeah.
Allegedly broke in.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, whatever happened inside, there will be plenty of memes for the rest of humanity made out of this. And whatever happened inside, and they had to be cleaned out. And there's been no short of political discussion. But with that all being said,
mm-hmm.
I felt awfully sad for my country and my countrymen and women.
Yes.
I really did, man. And I don't even know how I really feel about it. We say it before, multiple things can be true at the same time. And I guess the easiest way to boil it down is that you can agree with the sentiment to some degree, but disagree with the reason to the action.
Sure.
I think more than anything, it was a heavy symbolic. There's a lot of symbolism with the event that I think really it puts a lot in perspective as far as one, how desperate people are, two, how engaged people are, how willing people are. People think they're informed, people are getting informed, or they have talking points, or they're not informed or whatever, but however many people showed up to Washington. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they got inside the Capitol building. Now, excuse me, I'm sorry. I have a beer this week, not coffee. A foreign beer, imported beer, Heineken.
I mean, for the record, nobody. Can I get this? We're gonna get this. Let's see what.
What?
Look at this. Okay. And anyone thinks I'm worried about it, just for the record. On our T-shirt, Ryan is on our logo. Ryan is very clearly holding a beer and not a coffee. When we first started filming, Ryan always had a beer handy. Outside,
yeah, well, I stopped.
In his outside days.
I felt like I looked like an alcoholic.
Well,
Which, for all I know, could be true. I don't define language like some people, which we'll get to a whole nother segment. I honestly, Dave, I don't even know if we can do segments this week. I just think like we should honestly just have like a discussion. Because like I said, there's so much to unpack, man. And then like depending on I hate the whole aisle thing, man. But it's so easy to boil it down. But like I've seen so many varieties, like a check the lights, a rainbow of opinion on this discussion. So I'm gonna ask you, Dave, how do you what do you think, man? I was sad for my country and my countrymen. That's how I feel. Then I felt now. I've listened to people talk. I've listened to my friends. I've listened to the news. I've seen the news, both sides. I've seen all this information, and I still like don't think it's really processed about like what it actually really means because there's so much in play. Like it was like a domestic 9/11 symbolically.
Yeah. So
maybe not physically.
Two things. I don't want to get too much into like my thoughts on the Capitol things. I don't want to sound like conspiracy guy. Without going super far into it, it seemed rather easy to get inside. We're talking about
But I've seen the Constitution. I know it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
But I've seen the Constitution. There was only a couple guys there. So like it really makes me wonder, but I have seen the videos of people getting let in by some police.
Sure.
So I don't know. Keep going. I'm sorry. I did not mean.
So you're talking a lot about symbolism here, and I guess this sums it up for me mostly. And I actually posted this on our Facebook page. If you want to go to December 1773 on Facebook, follow us while we're still up and allowed to post. But I just want to. You can also find us on Parler, which again, until they're not allowed to be online. But here's something I wrote on our Facebook page. And I think this, I'm already adding to Ryan's. Here's what I put, and you're talking about symbolism, but I think this is perfect because I think everything is symbolism. I'll just real quick. If you think Trump was the reason for the riots, just hear me out. You have to first understand Trump was a symbol, nothing more. He was a protest vote. He was a sign that we the people have had enough. However, you did not listen. You carried on. You continued to censor us, cast us away as conspiracy kooks, radicals. You then took it further, shut down our businesses, our way of life. Trump didn't create voter fraud scandal. He presented the evidence, the hundreds of pages of signed affidavits, the statistical and mathematical proof, the video evidence of votes counted after hours, the fact that the votes weren't allowed to be counted in front of poll watchers. That wasn't created by Trump. The storming of the Capitol wasn't pushed by Trump. It was the inevitability. If you're blaming Trump, you still don't get it. You still think it's about him when it never was in the first place. I think that's honestly, you're talking about symbolism, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think everything about the Trump presidency has been symbolism, including the very beginning of it, his election. I mean, that's what he was. He was an absolute symbol. All the people doubted it. He's not a politician. He's not polished. Everyone who said that at the time, and including myself, to some extent, I'll admit, I never thought he was going to go as far as he did. He proved everyone wrong, and the reason he proved everyone wrong is because people have absolutely had enough. They don't want politicians. They're sick of the corruption, and they know it's happening. What happened storming the Capitol, you can talk about Trump and inciting violence and all this nonsense. People were going to do it regardless because they're sick of everything that's going on, and it's only going to get worse. I'm not pushing for violence in case YouTube thinks that's what we're doing. I'm just predicting what's going to happen. It's not going to get better.
If people are willing to drive from Washington, D.C., from Florida. I know people that came from New York down there. People I've met along my political path, my political journey. And they went from New York. And you speak about symbolism, Dave, because that is what it is. It was the protest vote against corruption, against politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Trump talked about the swamp. He didn't even realize what a swamp was until he got there.
Yeah, and we've said on the show many times, regardless of if he made it better or worse, the fact is, he was right in his theory about everything. The fact that there is a swamp, and maybe he didn't understand how deep it goes. Maybe he was part of it. I don't know, but he wasn't wrong in that aspect.
It's amazing to me that terms like swamp and why is this one leaving me? Fake news, like fake
Mhm.
news. It was always a thing, and then it becomes this hashtag.
Yeah, I
Like
mean
they
it's
admit it. Deep state was another one. Like to hear them talk about it, and then the way that they phrased the presidency in lights and make it sound like he has all this power and he can be this destructive dictator of America and all states and all people, and he has all this crazy unyielding power. He can make anybody do anything. He can appoint all these positions of power. He has nuclear launch codes. He has power over the borders and international matters, and he influences business and politics on all four corners of the globe, the flat one. And you say he has this dictatorial power. He has this authority to crush protests at a will, but allow others to happen. He has this. Last I checked, he was not mayor of D.C. He's not mayor of Louisville, Kentucky. He's not mayor of Charlottesville. He's not mayor of. I mean, all these places. Wisconsin. It's leaving me. Where Kyle Rittenhouse was,
Kenosha.
he's pled not guilty in the way different discussion. I'm sorry, but like all of that aside, you said he has all this authority and all this power, but the president's had that all along. That was all. Like, do you remember on the right wing when it was called a conspiracy that the president had this authority to do these things and leverage this power and all the same influence and have powers for all these things and destruction, and it was a conspiracy. It was like, oh no, he's doing it for our good and stuff. And then as soon as Trump takes office, because we have this super connected world with influencing, and then it's just an assault on our senses of it that he's got all this power. He's had it the whole
Mhm.
time. All the presidents have had it. Trump didn't. He did probably extend the power of the presidency with some of his orders, but Trump in general inherited a lot of power
Sure. And
and
I guess
influence.
it's it's not going to work. But
Trump
here we
didn't
go.
make himself the most powerful person in the world. America did that to the president.
Sure.
Whatever president got us there, or whatever, he became the most powerful person president because of America. Like, and you speak of protest vote, yeah, like corrupt politicians. I'm glad he went over to it. If you think America doesn't have corruptions, and we promote other countries, like, oh, look at how they do it in England. They're the same corrupt pieces of shit. Like, I don't understand why you think these people that have equal power, just not as much power, but they have equal power over their people as our
Well,
representatives do, sometimes more, and we're trusting them for their opinion on our policies. Like, it's the same corruption. Like,
yeah. Well,
Trump was a protest vote both foreign
it's an
and
inevitable.
domestic.
Yeah, it's inevitable because at the end of the day, the people in the political realm are people. They're humans, and human nature is you give people power and money and whatever. And I'm not saying all people, but I'm sure a lot of people. It's an easy thing to fall for the ability to get as much power as you have, and it's just like I said, it's inevitable. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you have government on grand scale, even on small scale, and that's why we hear like the idea of limiting that to a small scale as possible. So for all the people who are against Trump having all this power, and I know this isn't going to work, but we can reach across the aisle there and come to our side because what we've been saying the whole time is they shouldn't have that much power. So you're saying it only with Trump. I'm saying it with everybody. Nobody should have that much power. So if you think that because Trump's in office, let's come to terms here. Let's meet in the
Yeah.
middle. Isn't that middle ground?
Well, David, getting the American people money was middle ground apparently too, but it took them however many months to do that. So it
Sure.
shows where their priorities is. But they can vote to decriminalize marijuana while people don't have stimulus checks.
Yeah.
We got our Trump bucks now. It doesn't matter, even though it's not enough to do anything with.
Well, Biden buck should be coming around the corner, right? Let's keep printing that money. I jokingly
if
said that.
people are willing to drive to Washington D.C. and to break into the federal Capitol building in the heart of representation of democracy on the entire planet, they are willing to go to their politician's house, drag them in the street, and have their own way with them. I am telling you that right now.
Mhm.
I'm not
Wait,
condoning
wait.
violence because of
Yep.
YouTube's bullshit policies, okay? This is I'm serious. And
Yep.
if they'll do politicians, they will do businessmen, they will do news media, they will do every lawyers, they will do ex-wives. It does not matter.
Well, let's
People
disclaimer. We're not inciting violence. We're predicting it. This is different. I'm not saying people should do these things. They just are going to.
And if I use a leftist talking point here, if I'm just using what CNN says, people are promoting violence. The president's promoting violence. Okay. So I'm just speaking on future events that are predicted by our current media.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm just using your headlines. And you know what? I'm glad we do our headlines segment, which I don't think we're going to go into this second. But headlines may come to an end, my friend, because they may have copyright infringements on the freedom of speech when it comes to news headlines.
If they end my current tied for first favorite segment on our show, I'll be mad.
Your second
December
person's
Tainment's
favorite?
solid. December Tainment was solid. It's tied for first.
Best participation trophy first.
I got nothing for December Tainment, just for the record. I didn't watch anything really.
Yeah, you did. I'm not going to get to my pick for December Tainment because that's a closeout segment to end on a lighter note. But no. What were we talking about right before? Because we gotta. I mean, I told you this might be a rant and stuff this week. I'm really trying to not rant. I know we do our headlines and stuff, but like, I mean, I'm sad for my country. I'm sad. I mean, this is a political crisis.
Yeah.
We talk
I
about
just
we talk about all these crises with public education and healthcare and debt. It doesn't matter, student loans and this pandemic, and there's all these crises when we have a clear cut. Because in theory, if I'm just going on the bullshit left and right narrative, the MAGA people and BLM and Antifa, right? If those are the extreme groups, right? They've both been able to destroy shit. They've both been active and done things and been politically active. Okay, so if the extremes are expressing their thing, like we have to figure this out in the middle. Like because the extremes are only going to grow. Glenn Beck had a phenomenal video about it, and I think he almost cries when he shoots the video because he talks about what he stands for, what is right and what is wrong. He talks about what is the left side of the aisle and what is the right side of the aisle. And he compares like what has happened, what happens. It's very good video. But he condones all the violence and everything and all that. But his thing is like you could see the pain for his country.
Mhm.
I mean, that's patriotism. That's true patriotism. Like I don't know what to say about it, Dave. I really don't. Because there's things I want to say. There's things I think that we should do. There's things that I think need to be done. I think that people need to hear certain things. I think politicians need to hear it. Like, I'm sad for my country when I think
Yeah.
about it. This was 2 weekends in a row that I woke up like physically upset at some bullshit political stuff because I just felt like it was such a gross and overreaching and destructive and poisonous and treacherous and Orwellian. Hashtag Orwell will no longer trend on Twitter. If you go, I did it myself. This
It's not
video,
allowed.
David, may not be on the internet in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Listen, we're gonna have a long road ahead. There's no doubt about it.
Twitter is not allowing hashtag Orwell or hashtag 1984.
Mhm.
The very
They're
platforms that I and many other smarter people than me have said they are Orwell. They are the Ministry of Truth. They are the gatekeepers. They are the media. They
I think there's
are the public conscious. They are the court of public opinion. They are a narrative. They are fake news. They are the Matrix. The Matrix has banned hashtag 1984, hashtag Orwell. And if you were to go up to 100 people on the street, maybe I should do this as a segment on the show. I'll go up to 100 people on the street and ask them if they know what George Orwell is, or if they know who, or who George Orwell is, or if they know what 1984 is. Because I bet you if you went up to the average American, they don't even know what that means. Orwell does not trend on Twitter. 1984 does not trend on Twitter. What's next on Twitter that will be banned? Hashtag hate speech. Hashtag Republican. Hashtag pro-life. Hashtag pro-gun. Hashtag smaller government. Hashtag America. Hashtag George Washington. Hashtag founding fathers. Hashtag republic. Hashtag democracy. Hashtag freedom. Do you know what they say in 1984? They say, war is peace, freedom is slavery. And ignorance is truth.
Mhm.
And they have banned that. I'm sad for my country.
Yeah, I think
Why would they ban 1984 and Orwell while pro-patriots storm the Capitol? This has nothing to do about policy. It's nothing to do with political parties. I know Orwell was a communist. I know he fled Russia. I know he came here. I know that. But he said, I'm just using his words because they've banned his. He said there's only two types. There's authoritarian or there's libertarian. You don't have America. You don't have pro-gay rights. You don't have pro-black rights. You don't have freedom. You don't have pro-destroy private business. But freedom is slavery. How do you become freedom is slavery? You give freedom to the government. And we've allowed them to define language. And where was that made popular, David? Who made it popular that the government defined language? George Orwell, 1984.
I think it's a strange thing. Now, I've certainly heard much about 1984 between you and Kevin and I believe John too. They all kind of talk about it.
I
in
believe
19
Kevin and I read about it, and then John latched onto it. But yeah, we've talked about it for years.
Oh yeah.
Years.
So in 1984, let me ask this: all this, the gatekeepers and all this, is this mostly, in his prediction, is it mostly government that's doing all this, or does private entities like Twitter and Facebook do? Obviously not Twitter and Facebook by name, but do private entities like them have any part
There's
of,
no private. There's no private property.
so it's total government control. So
Everything is the party.
Mhm.
And if you're not a member of the party, like if you don't work for the party, so if you just say that the party means a government institution, doesn't matter if it's ours or China's. This is like, it's not even a prediction. It's just, he tells a story what it's like to live in a dystopian future. And he is the main character, Winston, and he works at the Ministry of Truth. George Orwell worked at the BBC, a media operation. There's a statue of Orwell outside of the BBC, and I bet you BBC has defended Twitter.
So
But
really,
he works for the party at the Ministry of Truth. So if you don't work for the party, you are a prowl, it's called. And if you go into any dictionary and look up the prowl, it just means poor person. And when Winston goes out into the world that he lives, he ventures to where the prowls live. I don't forget what they call it, but it's away from where he lives. And when he goes there, that's people are out drinking, and it seems to them that they have less care in the world than the people that work underneath the party, even though they're still subjugated to all the same rules. And Winston always said that the strength lies in the prowls. And prowls are just like the disenfranchised, the poor people, the disinformed, the easy manipulated, the paupers, the prostitutes, the thieves, the worst of worst people, and like the best of the worst people. The alcoholic guy that works but still goes to work every day, the functioning drug addicts, the people that are addicted to things but still provide for their family, the people that abuse their family. These are the people where the strength lies in society.
would you almost
Because
say
that's the
would you almost say the, I don't know, deplorables?
Yes. Well, yeah, essentially. Now, in Orwell's in Orwell's story, there is no middle class. There's no like classes. Like
Mhm.
there's just isms. Like
There's
I don't know if that's the correct thing, but you work for, like I said, you work for the party or you're a prowl. That's all there is. There's no like you own your own business. Like there's actually a store that Winston goes to, and it's got artifacts. There's no ancient stuff. Like there's nothing from your grandparents. Let's say you know how like you could probably list 10 things symbolic to you that somebody gave to you, right? Well, that doesn't exist in 1984 because things are rewritten or destroyed or altered. Things are put away and never seen. People don't understand their history. People don't know what happened historically, not only because they're not taught it, not only is it taught right, but because people are paid, like Winston. He works for the Ministry of Truth. He goes back and he alters documents to make everything that the party says true. Doesn't matter what it is. The party that fixes language, abolishes what words you can and can't use, which is the basis of cancel culture.
Mhm.
Now, you have a right to feel a certain way against transphobia and racism, fine. But when we start canceling things and abolishing things and stealing terms and destroying languages, and that is Orwellian. That is 1984. And the largest Facebook banned Trump too. So how do I know? It was Alex Jones first, right? The crazy guy, the
Yep,
fringe
we went over
alt-right
this. Yep.
leader. It was him, and then Donald Trump.
Yeah, it was Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, and blah 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 blah. And we went over this at the time. We said, listen, whether you agree with them or disagree with them, or you think they're whatever, it's the slippery slope aspect. It's the you start there, and then it's somebody who works for the presidency, and then it's the president himself, and then where does it go from there? If they're
And
going to
this
ban
is always the
if they're going to
thing.
ban the
This is always
president, who aren't they going to ban?
well, they banned people that weren't even the president.
That's
People are
what I mean.
happy. People are happy they banned the president. Now, whatever you want to say about whether his tweets directly cause violence, whatever you want to say, they banned the most powerful person from one of the largest platforms that there is in a mass way that communication, information is just distributed across everywhere, all over the place to everybody. The most powerful person in the world lost one of the most powerful microphones there is. And if they will take that, what will they do to December 1773? Will December 1773 become a hashtag band? December 17th, 17th. And I know most people don't watch this, David, and that's fine with me. But I know this is the fight. Like, this is the fight. Independent media, the rise of all this. Because they've taken Orwell, they've taken 1984. And if we don't regroup and revamp and revitalize and build new methods, we're not cracking the code, but other people are, like Parler, which brings up other things because Parler is actually might not be able to be available on app stores. Apple said they might pull Parler. So it goes beyond like just the platform. Like let's say Patriots build a platform that is pro-patriotism on an app store that is operated in their domain. This is something Alex Jones talked about. And then that's why he built his own websites, because they'll just pull you from the app store. Big tech, big pharma, big whatever, the big government, whatever it is, they'll just pull the rug out from underneath you. That's why you have to build your own things. I mean, we operate in this system, but eventually we need to start as ourselves. We need to really look at things. And we don't even have a big following. But if we want to keep producing content in the future, it very well might come down to that we have one of two revenue streams of avenues to actually get a message out, because things might be so polarized. I saw a poll that most MAGA supporters think revolution is imminent, civil war rather, and 40% of Biden. Now, polls don't mean anything, but the media is painting optics of this.
Yeah.
And this has been picked up a long time, so probably far before Trump even. The Capitol siege.
The Capitol siege.
Just got a notification across the hot wire right now, live. The Capitol siege. The way that they have, you know why they took 1984, and you know why they took Orwell. You know. I hope you go and buy a copy now. Now, Amazon might sack up and sell you a copy for now, but they might start printing them without certain pages in there. So, how do I know
Amazon.
the one from 19? Amazon's gonna.
Amazon was part of this Parler thing too, because their servers, AWS, they told Parler they better find somewhere else to put their site. Which Parler said they'll be back up and running Monday at 12, but which is just enough time to catch us. The weekly show at 7. Mondays at 7. 12 o'clock's before then, so we'll be up on the Parler. Assuming YouTube doesn't take it down.
Or Skype. I mean, where's it for real?
Can we
for real? How far? Our second episode, Conspiracy Cast, no audio. Everything failed. Everything.
That was pre-Skype. That's the reason we started Skyping. I'd like to take a second to thank Skype for being an actual platform. They've done a tremendous job.
Yeah, that rich Bill Gates guy that I always hate built it. Rather, his company acquired it through however that happened. But yeah, where's it stop? Skype, if they get enough backlash, they're going to fold. I mean, cancel culture will not stop. It's going to grow. This is like the moral in these stories. And this is just one tale, one story. But it's been banned from Twitter. It's hashtag, rather.
Yeah. We started talking about the platform versus publisher thing a long time ago. I had a mini segment about it back when I was taking my pages out of the Ryan book here, doing car videos. I had one in the car about platform versus publisher. It was a while ago.
The studio in the car, man, is a legendary novelty.
I do prefer, to be fair, my studio. I like sitting in a nice, comfortable chair talking to somebody else. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to talk to somebody else.
Do you, I know, all right. Is there anything else that we should say about the political siege. I wonder if BLM sieged that police station. I wonder. Not saying that it's right. I'm just pointing out a similarity.
Disclaimer: we are
I'm
not
serious,
inciting
though.
the violence. We're just
I'm just
stating that
saying.
another group did the same thing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I did say that those were terrorists that did that to that state police building. So in theory, I should apply the same method to these people. Yeah.
Sure. Did anyone forget about Chop/Chaz? Everyone
those were
totally
domestic
forgot.
terrorists.
They literally took over blocks in a city.
Summer of Love.
Ooh, Summer of Love. That's right. Nobody died. Oh wait, no, people died. Oh
well. Capitol Siege. Actually, we should bring up how most of our elected officials were cowards, cowering. Their ivory towers falling from the peasantry class, clawing up them, crawling up walls, and smashing windows, and having police overwhelmed. They cowered to domestic terrorism.
Nope. Wait. Disclaimer: not that we enjoyed it. We're just noting that they cowered.
They cowered. While we starve, while we wait for them for stimulus checks. Because they shut my business down. Not mine in particular. Or they told my business how I can operate. Or they told me that I have to do certain things that I maybe not be able to absorb a certain cost.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure last week I talked about a pizzeria that lost its liquor license because they came by and seen them. Or no, I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm conflicting it. I brought up how the government would monitor your area for COVID, and I made a joke about the Simpsons Dome. Remember, David?
Mm-hmm.
That I said
Absolutely.
they'll just test the air. Well, a local business in my local economy was shut down with his liquor license because his tents did not offer correct ventilation to allow COVID to escape. Even though he had vents that were not discussed, or he had a defense for it. Either way.
Yeah, right. I thought
the
virus lived on surfaces.
They came in, David, and said air quality control. Invisible particles that I have no control over are now my responsibility. I can't own the ground. I have to pay property tax on a house till I die. But I own the air molecules apparently, and you can find me for them. I'm glad I own the air and not the soil. I'm glad they took that out of the New York State Constitution too. Pieces of shit. We should be torn. Our founding fathers were domestic terrorists.
Yes.
They revolted. They revolted against the largest, strongest empire ever.
They fought the crown.
Ever.
And they would be, disclaimer, not inciting violence, they would be proud of the Capitol Siege. My opinion.
No, they would. I think they would have said, you didn't do enough.
Disclaimer, not that we're inciting violence.
You know what's crazy? Didn't a police officer die? Right?
Yes.
But people died.
Yes.
Wasn't a lot.
Was it 3?
It was less than 10 people, I think. I think a police officer died and like 4 people. One woman was shot in the chest. Apparently, she was like a pro-Obama person, a Trump supporter, a veteran, a mother. Like, if these people are willing to go to Washington, D.C. to break into a federal building, they will go to a state legislature. They will go to a county legislature. They will go anywhere. We are hammering people thin. I'm watching businesses around me having to adapt in communities that necessarily may not be able to afford to allow them to adapt. because people are out of work. Thank God I haven't lost a job. I haven't lost hours. But that could change any day, apparently.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's a
You
valve
never.
now. Apparently, we've seen the hand on the valve. We never thought we've had subsistence. We've had relatively low struggle compared to previous generations in this country, globally, currently, across the globe. Even some developing countries have trouble. Like, we've had substance, we've had extra, we've had quantities, we've had delicacies, and now
Sure.
we've seen that there's hands on there. Tell me how we've never run out of toilet paper ever before, and now now there's problems. Even now, go to the store, there might be trouble there, even though you can only buy two. Well, what the hell happened? Oh, well, people are price gouging. That was the thing at the first place. Now I can still only buy two for the last 9 months, however long. I mean, we're almost a year in. March, I'm pretty sure, is when they introduced lockdowns. So we're 2 months away from a year of lockdowns in my state.
Yeah.
And price gouging and all that, and mass panic buying, that only happened right away. They stopped that, and you still don't have enough toilet paper. Okay.
I think we've talked about this on the show before. Price gouging is a way to end depletion of products. They call it gouging, but
They
really it's
call it
just
gouging. They don't mind if
it's
there's only so much gold and it can be traded at $6,000 an ounce. They understand supply and demand and quantity and quality. They understand all that crap then. Now, when it comes to milk, though, when there's no cows, because they're all dead or something crazy, nice price gouge. Like, well, do you want the toilet paper or not, man? Like, what the fuck? I could have wiped my ass with this. It's $10. It's $1 a sheet. Would you rather have that? Like, come on. I'm choosing my hand instead of, like, not that money would be valuable in a fallout scenario. I'm just saying, like, not saying
well,
I agree or disagree with price gouging either. It's just freaking supply and demand literally dictate everything.
Mhm.
Even if there's no economy, even if there's no government, even if there's nothing. If there's no government to regulate a market, we'd be raping and pillaging still. We'd be the shitty colonists that everybody hates. You didn't realize that? Did people realize that? If we didn't have a government that allowed us to exchange $1 for $1 and buy a loaf of bread for $1 with $1, like, if a bread's worth $1, instead of like thinking of a bread as $1, just look at it as like an actual dollar. I pay $1 for $1. I get $1's worth of value for $1. We take that away, an economy, a government, private businesses, public businesses, all that shit. If we just dismantle the system or say it's I mean, the oppressive government you hate built the system so that we don't have to do that anymore. That we don't have to colonize. We don't have to rape and pillage. It's ridiculous. Capitalism stopped us from raping and pillaging. And then you hate the supply and demand, which has always been there. People have always starved and people have always been fat. The fat used to be wealthy, the royalty. Now it's just politicians and power and money. It's ridiculous. People are dumb. I'm over it, man. I feel sorry for my country and countrymen. I'm done ranting about it. I think the political siege, they were domestic terrorists, what they did. I have to apply the same rule of law, the same apply the same to either. But at some point, there's some symbolism there that we should all relish in and understand that maybe there's a way to change this problems that we have, that we don't have to do what those people did. Right? And that's
Yeah,
why politics matters. And that's why it matters that you talk about politics and religion to some extent, if you're religious. But politics matter. Talk politics. Get upset, learn to cope with it. I get upset still, but I try to come back and talk to the person and do it. Go through the process. Try to learn. Be open minded. Defend yourself. But politics matter. And we're seeing it symbolically on display with flashbangs going off in the pinnacle seat of democracy. It's a non. I don't want to say violent. It's a not because it was done by terrorism, right? Domestic terrorists, and people did die. It's a violent domestic terrorist siege on the Capitol. It is. It's crazy. But we said this, right? We have said this here, right? You've made people desperate. You've taken so long. I was wrong with the Trump bucks. I got Trump bucks before my taxes. That was my joke. That was my thing. But I believed it. Like they didn't do it. But then I should have not been so naive to believe now that Biden was president and they think they had it locked up in the bag that they were just going to walk away and not give us our little bit of peanuts left. And Biden's talking about, to take that a step further, Biden's trying to promise $2,000 checks. You don't even know if that's going to happen. You're trying to, you're counting chickens before they're hatching. It took you that long for 600. You're talking about over double that.
Make it 10,000. Cheers.
Let's give everybody $1 million.
$1 million. Everyone's a millionaire. Boom. Problem solved. Economy fixed.
It's weird. It's almost like you, instead of just like propping it up with government bureaucracy and dollars, you should like just let, the economy kind of figure out what it needs.
My fear is people are going to understand economics when it's too late. When you're burning your money to stay warm, that's when you'll start to understand economics.
Well, David, economics is a white man system. It's oppressive, so we don't need to understand it. What we need to do is tear that system down, which would eventually probably cause raping and pillaging, like I'm talking about.
Not, disclaimer, not that we want raping and pillaging.
I don't know why I have to say this, YouTube. Orwell.
I don't want anyone to think we're inciting violence.
Big Brother. Is Big Brother next? Oh, Big Brother. There's the workaround. Hashtag Big Brother. We still got one. Thank you, Orwell. Thank you, Orwell.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, but those will be, maybe they'll be next. 1984 was the thing, so Big Brother's the next hot hashtag out of there. INSOG. INSOG's the name of the party. So we got ways around it. But, yeah, I don't know why I have to say disclaimer when I'm just citing historical things.
Well,
I don't really know anything, but that's really factual, right? Like once we stopped exchanging like chickens for chickens and started exchanging a chicken for $1, it changed the way that we needed to live. Mercantilism is what started it in the Renaissance era. But that was like the merchants, which would be 100% capitalism, we're told, dictated the market. But that was when they still appointed dojas and stuff. So what the hell do I know? I don't know anything. But I know capitalism's pulled more people out of poverty than any other system in human history. And then we're told that shutting our economy down is going to help us. When I'm reading stuff that China is going to be the world superpower within 10 years.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Dave,
I get somewhat skeptical on that.
You talk about people not worrying about economics till it matters. Well, $27 trillion in debt will really matter when China's writing our checks to keep us alive. And they have a larger economy and a more powerful military, quite frankly, because I've also seen things. I can't wait till this is taken down in 10 years because of the Chinese government. The Chinese government may reveal a next generation stealth bomber that could strike things all over the Pacific region at our allies and our bases. Next generation would be the first superpower to have one. Just like they have that, remember that computer I reported on a few weeks ago here on December Weekly Show? About that quadrillion fucking quantum leaping transformer Decepticon robot that they got everything probably plugged in. Probably got that stealth bomber plugged in. That's probably the stealth bomber is the computer. Thing probably runs on Krabby Patties. Made out of other computers. Bet me, DARPA's got a robot that eats organic material to stay alive. Don't believe me? Joe Rogan talked about it on his podcast. It's ridiculous, man. They've engineered this whole thing.
I'm surprised that podcast is still up.
Yeah. Just wait. Just wait. Good point, David. Just wait. Just wait. They'll come for Joe Rogan. You know what? That's why he moved to Texas. What are you gonna do when the JRE militia shows up to defend Joe Rogan against the vegans or against the LGBT WXYZ people? I have a rainbow. I don't hate you. Just make fun of your crazy. I make fun of your dumb, crazy label. Government shouldn't be involved in anything. Except to make a dollar and say I don't have to rape and pillage to eat chicken. What's so hard about this?
They don't need to be involved in that either, quite frankly. That just works itself out.
Yeah, my father's been living fine. He hasn't asked the government for anything, believe me. That guy invented like physical cryptocurrency, if you know what I mean. Love you, Pop. You're one of our biggest fans.
Definitely is.
He's probably our biggest fan, man.
Yeah, I've been slacking. We got to get that guy a shirt. I got to get you a shirt, John and Kevin, Jeremy. You can get those shipped out.
I bet you they don't watch our own December Nights. Don't watch. December Nights, David. December Nights. Oh, I like it. We go forever with this December shit. Are we done with the Capitol?
I think
we covered a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is just the beginning. The impeachment talks. I don't know if you have these in headlines, but I assume
25th Amendment.
Yeah, 25th Amendment.
All this nonsense.
Pence taking over, Trump being in a military base, him conceding the election, him not conceding the election, him saying he's stepping down, him saying he's not stepping down, Twitter doing this, Twitter doing that, Facebook doing this. Yeah, so this is all going to jack into the political siege, but I think we covered all angles of it other than your first tied favorite segment.
We're gonna rip through these. This is gonna be like headlines, speed lines though.
I was going to say lightning lines.
Lightning lines?
Yeah.
Headlines. Elon Musk is now the richest person in the world, passing Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, fuck you, Jeff Bezos!
Elon Musk is the rich person that we all deserve.
Hashtag Iron Man real life.
We've sort of touched on this already.
Wait, really? Seriously?
What?
That's really incredible.
What? Musk?
Yeah. The dude doesn't ship me, like adult novelty items.
That's right.
Like Bezos does.
That's correct.
Man, it's almost like electric cars and like autonomous driving and landing things on launch pads is the future.
You would think so.
Does it also think
lines.
that the power of governance? Say what you want about Tesla, but they did pay back their government subsidy, unlike the big three of General Motors, Ford, and Chevy. So, I'm sorry, Dodge and Chrysler. I said GM twice.
Don't talk about Chrysler like that.
It's truth, Dave. It's truth.
I know. Well, sort of. I know.
Sort of.
You're a fan, so I get it. You got your arm. I don't know if you can show it, but you got the Mopar love on your arm. There it is. I'll allow it. Lightning lines. Headlines. Representative Ilhan Omar says she is drawing up articles of impeachment against Trump over Capitol rioting. We can't allow him to remain in office, was her quote. Whatever. She doesn't matter.
Yeah, ask her husband about
him. Brother. Headlines. Arnold Schwarzenegger pushes GOP to reject what he calls Trump's stupid, crazy, and evil election challenge.
Get to the chopper.
I didn't know he was still around.
Ironically, the man that wore the bull hat to the Trump break-in is a
Yeah.
future character of Arnold Schwarzenegger's. He's going to be part of a video documentary series about the Capitol siege of Washington and Trump's administration. Oh my God, Netflix is going to do it, dude. They're going to do a 10-part episode series. Maybe not Netflix.
Oh yeah.
But somebody's
they
going
will.
to do something, and that's the ending. I am not conceding, and they're going to drag Trump off or something crazy. It'd be crazy.
I could see it. I could see it happening.
The
Lightning
China
lines.
virus.
Headlines. Judge who blocked voter purge in 2 Georgia counties before Senate runoff is Democrat Stacey Abrams' sister. Nothing to see here.
Man, if they were only a Republican, we would see that in the light of day.
Lightning lines.
Doesn't matter. Old normal. Welcome to old normal. Back to the old normal. We're going back to the way things were.
We talked about this a little bit already. Headlines. Apple gives Parler a 24-hour ultimatum. Google blocks app from the store.
Yeah, burn it down. Parler. Get your own shit, dude.
Yes, they're working on it. I like this one because we were kind of talking about this as well. It all ties together. Headlines. As Biden prepares $3 trillion stimulus, Bitcoin could be set to erupt. Not just Bitcoin, but all cryptocurrencies. I'm telling you, get on board, take your stimulus, put it into something. Just telling you.
What? Whoa.
What?
So what are you saying here? Like,
I'm saying you take your worthless stimulus money, or soon to be worthless.
Hold on. Yes, you're talking about the implosion of physical currency, David.
That's correct.
Let's just be very clear.
Well, let's be clear, non-physical currency.
Yeah, okay. This is why I'm saying I want us to break what this actually means. We're talking about that dollars, physical fiat currency is worthless already. They're just transitioning us.
It's more worthless than it used to be.
Yeah, dude, it's not worth fucking anything. It's worth 2 pennies or something crazy to what it was. That's why your grandpa could make a quarter an hour and provide a $50,000 lifestyle. The thing was made out of silver. We didn't need all this money to stay alive.
Yes.
We've
been
hijacked by global China interests. This is China, dude.
By the way, as you say that, I'm hearing the interference in my headphones. I don't know if it'll pick up on the cast.
Fucking Chi-Com fucks, dude. I want to close this out about a point that I've been really relishing on lately.
Wait. Where were you going with your original? Wait, no. Where were you going on your original fiat currency point?
Okay, fiat currency is not going to matter. So they're transitioning us. Like if you look, I'm sure Samsung Pay, like if you look right now during the pandemic, the Great Reset, the new normal, there's all these payless cash things. Now, I use Apple Pay. I love it. Not quite
sure.
But
but this is all currently backed by fiat currency.
Yes, backed by fiat. Now, when it transitions, that's a whole different thing. What if in the future we have competing currencies? Like this is a whole different. Imagine like the American wealth split up in 5 different currencies.
In a weird way,
that devalue. Will that devalue the wealth of the nation because it's split behind 5 different currencies? So it will be easier for America to lose its superpower status because we have 5 competing currencies: Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, fucking Bitcoin, Trader Coin, Coin, Mario Coin. Sonic Coin, whatever.
But Samsung and Apple Pay currently aren't their own currency. But the future is now, to your point, there is other forms of currency. You can go right now and go purchase other forms of currency. It's more, I don't want to say it's more risky, because it's not technically more risky, but don't want to get too in depth, but it is definitely risky. But it's also risky to assume that our money is going to continue to be worth anything. And people have been saying for a while, go buy gold, go buy gold, buy gold. I'm not saying don't buy gold. Don't buy silver. Right. But the people who used to say buy gold, they might still be saying that, but they're also saying, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever.
Yeah, gold's at all-time high, though.
Sure. You know what the gold people are saying now? Buy silver.
Why? Because everybody bought gold?
No, because silver has potentially more room to grow. You can buy it cheaper now. Silver could potentially be what gold was 25 years ago.
So there it is by the quantity now while it's low. So when there's less of
Sure.
it, it's worth more.
Which is why
It's almost
I'm a
like
big
you're investing for the future.
which is why I'm a proponent of Dogecoin if you're choosing cryptocurrencies. Hashtag Doge
Why
to
is
the
it?
moon. Doge
Why?
to the moon. Because currently it's a penny. When I bought it, it was a quarter of a penny. We talked about this, I think. Because I think you jokingly said something about congratulations on your 200% rise when it went to a penny. But
You did though, right? But that's what you made though, right?
Correct. Yeah, it went from 1/4 of a penny to a penny. Even if you only invested whatever, you invest $1, do the math. But the fact it's $4. The fact is, if you buy a pile of something that's less now, I'm not saying it will, but Ethereum now is over 1,000, Bitcoin's like 40, whatever the hell it is. It was 4,000 when we got some of it. So I'm just saying, if something that was once a quarter of a penny gets anywhere remotely to 1,000, again, not saying it will, but if it does, you did all right for yourself.
You did super all right, considering you bought it for a quarter, not even a tenth of a penny, a quarter of a penny, right?
Well, a quarter of a penny is more than a tenth penny.
I know. Sorry, a tenth of a penny is a
But
fucking statement.
But either way, yeah, either way though. That's the point. Yeah, that's kind of like why some people are saying buy silver though, because you can buy it for $17 an ounce or whatever it is. But it's 17.
I have a friend that goes and buys silver. He's like, "That's my retirement."
What happens, in 25 years from now? Maybe it does get up to where gold is. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's only 100 an ounce. But still, if you bought enough at 17 an ounce, and it becomes 100 an ounce, you made out pretty well.
Well,
maybe not enough
if you
to
bought
retire
it for
on.
$1, yeah, if you bought it for $1, it's worth $2. That's 100% profit. That's really good. Most businesses try to make 30% profit. You made 100 on your investment. But time is also a factor, right, David?
That's correct. You might want to get into it now because, like I said, fiat currency going down the tubes.
Invest young, invest often, they say, right?
Lightning lines. Headlines. ABC News political director calls for this is a good term, cleansing, that's their words, not mine, of Trump voters. Nothing.
If I say cleansing of black people, it's racist, and I can't air that headline, though.
Yes, I would highly doubt that would be allowed to air.
Cleansing of Trump supporters. From where?
That's fine.
Like physically?
That was, yeah, no, just, in general. That's ABC News. That's not a major, that's ABC. They're not major. It's not.
They're not fringe extreme, so you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, they're fringe. They're not mainstream. ABC. You can't find them on Channel 7. Jesus.
December 1773 is bigger than them,
Lightning lines. Headlines. Lindsey Graham is more determined than ever to strip tech companies of legal protections after Twitter bans Trump. His quote was, "The Ayatollah can tweet, but Trump can't." To Lindsey Graham, I say, too little, too late, dude. Little bit too late.
Yeah. Is there a go fuck yourself button on Twitter yet or no?
And this is my last of the headlines. Lightning lines. Headlines. Defense officials confirm, as if this needed to be confirmed, Trump is still commander-in-chief. They refuse to participate in military coup to oust him.
Who said that?
Department of Defense. It was a general statement from the department.
That was somebody Trump appointed, right? Somebody Trump appointed.
Maybe. Not necessarily, but probably.
I also seen things that Trump said. Two people told him on CNN that Trump has zero idea of pardoning, of stepping down and transitioning power, even after he released that video.
Sure.
Which is something we didn't discuss on the political capital. Excuse me. The political capital. There was lots of video exchange between Biden and Trump, and decisive language on both sides, you could say. We need to. I think people need to just lay off the needle.
Yeah.
And let things develop.
I think, yeah, exactly.
I wish the news
we'll see what
didn't
happens.
have to be on all the time, honestly, because it promotes them to just print bullshit, to just make filler content. A benefit we have of releasing weekly is that we can gather information, release it with, it will be dense maybe, but there's something there. There's substance.
Sure.
Having to say something every day when there maybe is not the most important stuff saying every day is
it would all be subjective all the time because you don't know.
It'd almost be like they would just have to report on the facts and let the people decide.
Wouldn't that be a strange world of news?
Man, that'd be crazy if I had more interactions with people that discussed independent thought. I'm going on record right here and saying I'm not saying I don't listen to podcasts. I know I've attacked Joe Rogan. I love him and all that. I've said this all. But I am not listening to podcasts lately. And I find myself, I don't know how you were with podcasts before, David, but I'm consuming a lot of media other ways, videos and
I'll be honest.
I listen to other people necessarily than podcasts. My point is now that we're recording our own podcast, I'm trying to not emulate these people. My point is that I'm trying to hammer out and establish my own foundation, my own point of view, my own beliefs, and have them grow and nurture them and take the time to really understand what I believe.
Yeah. Outside of this, I don't do a lot of political stuff, to be perfectly honest. I'm all about the distraction. You've kind of talked about the distractions, but I'm all about distractions. Outside of this, I'm listening to, I don't know, sports stuff or whatever, comedy or something that's not this. And that's kind of why it's a little frustrating when even if it's a comedian I love, if they'd start doing these political rants and stuff, I prepare for it. I know what's coming, but it's the whole reason I'm listening to you is because I'm trying to get away from it. That's why I hate ESPN, because they just decided to turn into CNN that reports sports.
I saw a commentator this week said that at some point politics is interjected in your job and you have to make a stance. I believe he was a black commentator, not that that matters. But obviously with everything that's been going on this past 12 months, we'll say from now, there's been a lot of BLM stuff. So,
well, that'll be interesting because a lot of business owners are, let's say, not to the left of center.
Yeah.
Because they know, they understand economic policy.
Business.
Sure. Yeah. They understand that economic policy matters, and the fact that you don't want to get all in too far into it, but just know that a lot of business owners are not, they're not on your side if you're to the left.
Yeah, and I know we don't want to get into it, but that's where we brought up that look, the extreme is Walmart. I understand why you hate Walmart. I mean, you can only go shopping at Walmart though. You can only shop at Walmart right now. Realistically. Yeah, Walmart shouldn't not pay taxes, if they're doing tax loopholes, but whatever. We're not supposed to pay tax. We're supposed to break even. We're supposed to pay just enough taxes, whatever it is. It's just, we all hate Walmart too, but nobody's shopping at private businesses because they shut them down. All right, yeah. I didn't mean to bring up the politics at the end because you brought up the great thing of the great distraction. And for my December entertainment this week was, of course, good old Buffalo Bills winning their first wild card game. And I figured we could, not that I realized yesterday I've been telling people I've only followed the Bills for so long. Mm-hmm. And I've actually been watching since the 2012 season. I've caught every game since 2012. So I'm going on almost 10 years of actually watching the Bills. So I feel, not that I know what I'm talking about.
That's a fair bit, though. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I've actually seen the team develop, and I didn't have to suffer all of the drought. I suffered part of the drought, but
good chunk.
Watching the transition and everything else, it's been very cool for me personally as a Bills fan to experience this and witness this. And I was alive during their run in the 90s, but I was too young to watch it, technically. I was born in 91. They ran from, 92 to 96, so whatever. But I figured we could kind of talk about the game.
Yeah, that was good to watch. I Not a huge fan of what they were trying to do for the first half. I mean, they tried to be a running team for some reason. I mean, you got
Number one receiver in the league. Let's run the ball.
let's run the ball with Josh Allen. By the way.
Outscore
The
the
whole
opponents. Whatever
the whole time, I'm thinking either going to get Josh Allen killed or he's going to fumble the ball. I'd rather him just go out there and sling it like he did in the second half. And oh, shocker, it worked.
I'd rather lose that way. I'd rather lose like 50-0 that way. You're the number one receiver in the league running the ball.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I mean, the Colts had a good pass rush, and they were trying to. You got to try to put the brakes on their pass rush somehow. But at the end of the day, you got a great quarterback, MVP caliber, and you got one of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in the league. Let it go. Let it rip.
Well, honestly, Josh Allen did pull through, even though there was all that run and everything else. He gave us most of our yards and the Bills most of their yards, and
that was pretty solid game. I was glad to see the win. The non-fumble at the end of the game was I almost went through the TV trying to figure out how they possibly called that not a fumble.
Did you catch any of? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, but we got the win, so but it is what it is.
Yeah, I called my friends right after, my family and stuff, like, like flipping out. And we did the same thing, like, like the defense sucked, they couldn't stop the run. Like, if you look on paper, the Bills got their ass beat. Like I did right after the game, I went to the Bills app.
In the first, definitely in the first half for sure.
Dude, even second.
It was like the first. Well, it was like the first half, and then they kind of took a bit of a lead and kind of coasted a bit.
Well, even with the second half, whatever they produced, if you look on paper, I went to the Bills app right after the game, hit stats, all of the stats. Colts should have won that game. It was their mistakes. The field goal that they missed, the 2-point conversion they went for, and then the missed touchdown opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, the missed field goal was off of the missed touchdown opportunity.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yeah, and the Hail Mary.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, actually. The defense at the end redeemed themselves for the Arizona game.
Yeah, the Hail Mary. And the Chargers, too. They had that against the Chargers, which didn't really matter because the game was long over at that point. But still, like the fact that you watch your defense give up 2 big Hail Mary attempts like that, and then at the end of the game, you're thinking, like, 4 seconds left. Ain't no way he's getting a completion and kicking a long field goal. They're gonna throw that thing downfield, and I'm like, oh man, Arizona Chargers, it's happening.
Yes, yeah. So I'm glad that I don't know if you've seen some of their content the Bills have put out, but they have great PR because they've talked about this and they're like, we learned and stuff. So it was actually, I was like, yeah, they redeemed themselves. Go Bills, man. That's awesome. So now, I heard from somebody, and I kind of agree with it, I guess, that like Josh Allen, now that he got his playoff win out of the way, he can kind of relax next game. And maybe instead of just winning, we'll smoke the doors off people like we have been.
Maybe. It's tough when you get in the playoffs.
It is playoffs football.
Yeah, when you get in the playoffs, you're playing. I mean, these are other playoff caliber teams. So
I have liked that
blowouts are less.
Everybody play the cornerbacks and safeties and a little fist fight and letting a lot of plays. It's basically personal fouls, passing offsides and stuff like that. Like quick, like they've been letting a lot of pass interference or 5-yard bumps and stuff go.
Yeah, there was a play today during Tennessee. It was the first Tennessee
Ravens won, right?
Yeah, it was the first Titans touchdown. The receiver Brown, he gave a little bit of a push off, but they let it go because it's playoff football. So I don't know.
You only get one shot. Let him go, man. I'm glad. I'm honestly good. I know most people want that. It slows down the tempo, and the Bills game had that drive that had the 2 challenges back to back, and then the interception in the end zone that wasn't an interception or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like there was a lot of that slowdown, and dude, fucking let them play. We let high schoolers play. You know what I mean? Because we don't have instant replay. Like just let them play. Let them play the sport. But yeah, go Bills. And I caught the Brady game, man. God damn it, the guy's so good.
He's
as
definitely
a Bills
good.
fan, having our division dominated by Belichick and Brady, and the Bills dominating Belichick this year. I know that we couldn't play Brady, and we've been a 5-star team.
We didn't play Brady yet.
No, but how great would it be if I know I'm thinking a long way ahead, and the Bills barely won, but it'd be kind of cool and symbolic if Allen could go to the bowl against Brady and maybe beat him. And even though Allen never got, I just want Allen to beat Brady, even if it isn't in our division. He could like solidify that our team is capable of beating Brady.
Yeah.
I know it's not with Belichick. I know it's not with the Pats, but
It'd be
it would be cool as a.
I would like this.
And
Yeah, the symbolism, the passing of the torch.
Yeah, it would be a medal on his jersey, man. You know, good for Josh Allen. I've heard that he's talked about he wants to sign a long-term extension already, like what Mahomes did, right? Like sign me for 10 years, whatever. Make it 50 million over 10 years, fine. You know, like
maybe it'll be a Russell Okung kind of deal. Maybe he'll get part Bitcoin.
Oh, I want to correct you on that. I heard a thing about that. It's not that he's getting paid in Bitcoin. His investment is going to Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was in the contract.
Right.
They kind of
yes.
they invested it on his behalf.
Okay. Right. I know what you mean, like what they would do for your 401k, right? Maybe it was pre-taxed and that's why they did it that way. Because it's going towards an investment, so it had to be right. That whatever. I just I heard a thing that it wasn't like they paid him in 200 Bitcoins.
No, they're not just handing him Bitcoin.
No. But back to piggyback on your strategy, he's heard or seen things. But people are thinking long term here with this fiat currency. Not to double back on our Decembertainment segment. But yeah, I caught the Bucks game. Brady's so good. Washington played awesome. I didn't know. I found out right at that last 2-minute drive that they tried coming back with the Hail Mary, the Washington team. I didn't know that was a practice squad quarterback.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, he was.
Dude,
I'll give him credit.
Cinderella story, dude.
Yeah,
Cinderella story. I also found out, call me naive, but I always thought the Washington Redskins, was the state of Washington.
Oh no, it's DC.
Yeah, we should. Redskins
whoa,
definitely should not have been the name.
Whoa, we do not use that term on this program.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Thinking back, it's like a bar league, right? Like, oh, what do we call each other? Oh, the Redskins, you know, like something. And then it just became the national. But dude, like, all right, I'm not even like for the social branding or anything, but like, maybe Redskins really wasn't the best name. I honestly, I swear to God, I've watched football almost my whole life. Like, I've played football, all that. I really thought it was the state, Washington.
No.
The more you know, dude. Yeah, Redskins, bad move. Bad move, America. Fix your shit.
I'm all for it. Bring it back.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like,
take the football team away. Bring it back.
Oh, dude. Oh man, the Chiefs is next. I've heard Buffalo Bills. They want to go after. Fuck, I'm already.
The Buffalo Bills thing I don't understand at all because that literally makes no sense. The Cleveland Indians might change their name. I saw that.
Dude, they're gonna. Orwell's been.
What are they gonna change it to? The Natives.
Or whatever.
Does that make people feel better? Cleveland Natives. Shut up.
We mixed our fucking segments, bro. Sorry, we're terrible hosts. Yeah, dude. Or they banned Orwell. Anything. They literally banned the thing that talk about banning things. That's like. I want this podcast to be called Symbols.
Episode 25.
Well, go Bills. I hope they win again. And yeah, this has been episode 25 of the weekly show from December 17th, 73. I am your host, Ryan, with my rainbow lights. With master control board, David, with his rainbow keyboard. And yeah, drops at 7 live. Stay locked to the channel and all that. But yeah, follow us YouTube, Parler, Facebook till we're banned. Or we don't even come up in your newsfeed because they've already censored our ads for foreign election interference.
And we're
YouTube. We have 40 followers. Get a grip. Let us grow before you censor us.
Yeah, I know. At least Facebook let us get 10,000 first.
Yeah. Yeah, to anybody, right? Like, because I've had it told, like, oh, you only got, like, dude, we have 10,000 followers on Facebook. That was after they went through and removed people. Like, this isn't
Yeah,
Not
we
necessarily that's going
we
to
had
translate
hundreds
to
of
views.
people purged from our list.
Yeah, like these 10,000 real people that comment and interact with, they actually enjoy our content. Like we actually, people just don't watch on Facebook. That was our problem. But anyways, yeah, stay locked to the channel. Dave, I love you, man. It's been good talking to you, and I'll see you next week, man.
Yep, see you next week. See everyone next week.
And hold on, let me look real quick.
Oh.
Yeah. Next week we will be the last podcast before the transition of power.
Ooh.
So episode 26, passing the torch. We'll see what happens.
I like it.
All right, dude.
See ya. Thanks, everyone.